Can we please talk about the 70th anniversary British Grand Prix? I can't believe it's not the British Grand Prix. Race just finished. That was an enjoyable race. That was really good fun, wasn't it? I mean, it was a bit of a surprise result because, most people thought, including myself, that Bottas would get out in front, because as the Mercedes normally does. The Mercedes normally gets out in front, and once they do that, the race is more or less over. But because of the tyres not being as durable, most people were on a two-stop. Really added some fun to the race. And yeah, but my bets were just terrible. I did see that the odds on Verstappen this morning. On Sky Bet anyway, they were it was like 7-1 for Verstappen to win, and I bet on him to retire first instead because the odds were much greater on that, which was a terrible bet. But what I should have done really is I should have taken my mate's advice. My mate said to me last week, he's like, obviously there's been a safety car in the last 7 British Grand Prix, but on the second one in a consecutive week, surely the drivers will know the track better, so you probably get some good odds on there being no safety car. And no safety car was like 3.5-1. And I almost bet on it, but I should have done really. Don't know why I didn't, because there was no safety car, obviously. But either way, that's a terrible bet in a different way because the bet never got made. And Hulkenberg, he put out a good performance. A shame that he couldn't get his first podium, but it was a long shot because, Verstappen is always going to be one of those guys that's up there in the top 3, unless he crashes out, which he does sometimes. But the real story of the race for me was, is Vettel even going to get a seat next season at this point? Because, not being funny, Vettel, but I set the bar extraordinarily low for you this week. I set the bar at 10th. And I thought that was... I didn't think that was a bad bet at all. I know that all my bets are terrible bets, but come on. In a Ferrari, you should be getting 10th or better. And when your opponent is... When your teammate is running 4th, that is not good. At a certain point, that's not the car, that's you. You're talking about a former 4-time world champion here. There was a time where people thought, who's the better driver, Lewis or Vettel? I guess that answers that, doesn't it? It's a real shame. But at a certain point, it's kind of like, well, I don't feel like Vettel even wants to race anymore. It doesn't look like it. He even said during the race, because he ended up coming out of the pits behind Sainz or something like that. Bearing in mind that Sainz had, he took longer in the pits for some reason, because, I don't know, something went wrong on his pit stop. But either way, it wasn't a flaw in the strategy for the Ferrari pit wall. But Vettel comes on the radio and he starts talking about how, this is on you guys. It's like as if, I've already done terrible in this race, but it's alright. It's not actually my fault. It's I don't know. I still feel like you could have got better than 10th. I feel like you could have done. And you know what? And that's what I get for having faith in you, isn't it? Hey, that's what I get for having faith in you. It's and it was interesting to see the fight between Bottas and Lewis at the end. That's always entertaining. And at the end of the day, Bottas just didn't have the grip left in his tyres. The commentators were talking about, Bottas should be having a conversation. Why did Lewis get the preferential treatment? And it's I think that in a funny way. Obviously, he was running first. He should have got the preferential treatment. I don't believe that he necessarily didn't. I think he got the option that he asked for. But either way, I think it'd be funnier if I just have this image of Bottas walking into the Mercedes office, and the big wig sitting there, and Bottas is just like, hey, why did Lewis get preferential treatment over me? And then the guy behind the desk could sit there and go, well, let me answer that question with a question. Can you tell me what driver are you? Are you driver 1 or are you driver 2? Well, I'm driver 2. Well, there you go then. There's your answer. I'm not saying he should be as callous as that, but in my head I had that scenario playing out. I thought it was, it made me laugh anyway. But either way, it was a shame for Bottas last week. and at least he got onto the podium this week. So yeah, either way, it was fun. It was good to see Hulkenberg in there, being competitive. I thought I found it a bit puzzling that they put him on softs near the end, because I thought he could have maybe gotten top 4 otherwise. Well, maybe not. Maybe the tyres were degrading faster than I gave it credit for. But either way, it was a fun race. I'm very much looking forward to Barcelona next week. And until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.